Hallo zusammen. Mein Name ist Linda und ich möchte euch eine Geschichte erzählen, die meiner Freundin Lia passiert ist. Ich habe sie so genannt, weil meine Eltern meine Einweihungsparty mit dem Geburtstag meiner Schwester zusammengelegt und mich beides bezahlen ließen. Ich ließ sie den Vertrag unterschreiben und gab meine eigene Party. Was ist das, in wessen Haus sind wir, schrien sie. Ich lächelte und sagte die Wahrheit. Also, los geht's. Ich bin Lia, 30 Jahre alt und arbeite als Logistikleiterin bei einem großen Transportunternehmen. Die Bezahlung ist gut, richtig gut sogar. Ich habe jahrelang gespart und mir letzte Woche endlich ein Haus mit 3 Schlafzimmern und riesigem Garten gekauft. Es ist alles, wovon ich geträumt habe, mein eigener Raum, meine eigenen Regeln. Meine Familie besteht aus meinen Eltern und meiner jüngeren Schwester Diana. Sie ist 24 und lebt noch bei Mama und Papa. Ich liebe sie alle, aber manchmal können sie etwas zu viel sein. Besonders Diana war schon immer das Nesthäkchen der Familie, ihr wisst ja, wie das mit jüngeren Geschwistern ist. Ich beschloss, heute Abend zum Abendessen zu meinen Eltern zu fahren. Diana war auch zu Besuch, was perfekt zum Timing passte. Ich hatte tolle Neuigkeiten zu verkünden. Also, ich muss euch was erzählen, sagte ich, als Mama ihren berühmten Hackbraten servierte. Ich habe ein Haus gekauft. Ein wirklich schönes mit 3 Schlafzimmern und diesem tollen Garten. Ich plane bald eine Einweihungsparty. Mamas Gesicht strahlte sofort. Oh mein Gott, Lia. Das ist wunderbar. Wann ist das passiert? Erst vor ein paar Tagen wollte ich euch alle überraschen. Diana blickte von ihrem Teller auf. Wow, das ist echt cool. Endlich eine eigene Wohnung. Danke, ich überlege, etwa 20 Leute einzuladen, hauptsächlich unsere Verwandten und ein paar meiner Freunde. Nichts allzu Verrücktes, nur eine schöne Feier. Da bekam Mama diesen Blick in die Augen. Den gleichen Blick, den sie hat, wenn sie etwas plant. Weißt du was, das Timing ist perfekt, sagte sie und legte ihre Gabel hin. Diana hat nächsten Monat Geburtstag. Ihren 25. We should combine your housewarming with Diana's birthday party. I felt my stomach drop a little, Mom, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I already have plans dash. Come on, Lia, Diana interrupted, it would be fun. We could celebrate together. I actually have some suggestions about how we could do this party. I appreciate that, but I already have my own plan ready. Like I said, just 20 guests, mostly family, and my friends, keep it simple. Diana shrugged, okay, that sounds fine. I just want to invite a few of my friends too. That's not a problem, right? I guess not, a few friends is okay. Diana grinned, perfect, don't worry about anything, Lia. I'll calculate everything and make a general list of expenses. We'll make this the best party ever. I should have known right then that this was going to spiral out of control. Diana always goes overboard with everything, and she has expensive taste. But they seemed happy, and I figured I could keep things under control. The rest of dinner went normally. We talked about work, Diana's job search, Dad's retirement plans. Normal family stuff. But I could see the wheels turning in Diana's head, and she kept getting this excited look on her face. A couple of days later, I decided to visit my parents again. I have my own key to their house and often just walk in without knocking, it's something I've always done since I was a kid. I opened the front door quietly, planning to surprise them and say hello. But before I could call out, I heard loud conversation and laughter coming from the kitchen. My parents and Diana were talking, and what I heard made my blood run cold. Leah's such a loser, Diana was saying, giggling. We need to order the most expensive things. She'll pay for everything as usual. She always gives us money for everything we want, Mom added. This is perfect timing. Dad laughed, yeah, she never says no when we really push. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I stood there in the hallway, stunned, trying to process what I was hearing. They were talking about me like I was some kind of ATM. But I forced myself to stay calm. I took a deep breath and pretended I hadn't heard anything. "Hey guys," I called out, walking into the kitchen like nothing had happened. Diana's face lit up immediately. "Leah, perfect timing. My smart plan is ready, come look at this." She turned her laptop toward me, showing a huge table divided into two parts. On one side was a tiny section labeled lease expenses, with just a few bullet points. On the other side was Diana's ideas, with at least 20 different items listed. "This looks extensive," I said, scanning the screen. "Who exactly is paying for all this?" "Well, you are, obviously," Diana said like it was the most natural thing in the world. "You have a big salary, and it's your housewarming party too." I was ready for this answer because of what I'd overheard, but it still hit me hard. "Also," Diana continued excitedly, "I've expanded the guest list a bit. We're now looking at about 50 people. I want to decorate your whole house with flowers and balloons, get a DJ, expensive catering, premium drinks, the works." I stared at the laptop screen. The total at the bottom read $12,000. "Diana," I said slowly, "have you completely lost your mind? I plan to spend no more than $2,000 on this party. Simple snacks, drinks, and a big expensive cake for your birthday." Diana's face immediately turned angry. "That might be okay for a boring housewarming party, but this is my anniversary. I'm turning 25. You want a grand celebration." "She's right," Mom chimed in, "there's no need to save money on something this special. We need to organize an unforgettable holiday." Dad nodded seriously. "Diana's 25th only happens once, Leah. Don't be greedy. You should pay for this." I felt my temper rising. "Are you all insane? $12,000? Some people organize entire weddings for that kind of money." The argument escalated from there. Diana started yelling about how I never supported her dreams. My parents joined in saying I was being cheap and ungrateful, and I finally had enough. "I'm not paying $12,000 for this," I said firmly, "that's final." I grabbed my purse and walked out, leaving them all shouting behind me. As I drove home, my hands were shaking with anger and hurt. The conversation I'd overheard kept replaying in my head. The next morning started with my phone ringing at 7 Uhr morgens. It was Mom. "Leah, honey, we need to talk about yesterday," she said in that fake sweet voice she uses when she wants something. "There's nothing to talk about, Mom. I'm not paying $12,000 for Diana's party." "But sweetheart, 25 years only happens once in a lifetime. This is a special milestone." I hung up. 5 minutes later, Dad called. I hung up on him too. Then Diana started calling. I let it go to voicemail. This pattern continued all day. Phone calls, text messages, voicemails. My family was relentless. Every time I blocked one number, they'd call from a different phone. Diana even had some of her friends text me, saying how sad she was and how much this party meant to her. By evening, I had 37 missed calls and 52 text messages. I was exhausted and furious. The next day was even worse. Mom called me at work. "Leah, if you don't help Diana with this party, your father and I won't talk to you anymore," she said dramatically. "We're serious this time." "That's your choice, Mom. How can you be so cruel to your own sister?" Meanwhile, Diana was sending me voice messages every hour. Her voice was all shaky and sad, like she was crying. "Leah, $12,000 isn't that much money for you," she whined in one message. "You make so much more than me. If you pay for this party, it would be the best anniversary gift ever. Please, I'm begging you." Another message, "I've already told all my friends about this amazing party. I can't disappoint them now. You don't understand how embarrassing this is for me." And another, "Everyone knows you bought that expensive house. Why can't you spend money on your own sister's birthday?" I stopped listening to the voicemails after the 15th one, but they kept coming. By the third day, I was ready to change my phone number. But then things got worse, much worse. I was scrolling through Facebook during my lunch break when I saw Mom had posted a long status update with a photo of Diana crying. "I'm so disappointed in my eldest daughter right now," the post read. "She recently bought herself a big fancy house and has become so proud and selfish. She won't even let her own family through the front door. When her sister asked for help with a simple birthday celebration, she refused. She promised to pay for Diana's anniversary party and then backed out at the last minute, treating her sister very cruelly. My poor Diana is heartbroken. I raised my daughters to support each other, but apparently money changes people." The post had already gotten 23 comments, all from relatives and family friends expressing shock and disappointment in me. Aunt Carol wrote, "I can't believe Leah would do this to Diana." Uncle Mike commented, "That's not the Leah I know." Very sad. I stared at my phone screen, feeling sick. Every word in that post was a lie. I never promised to pay for a $12,000 party. I never refused to let them in my house, they never even asked for my address. And the photo of Diana with tears running down her face just made me angrier. My phone started ringing immediately. It was Aunt Carol. "Leah, what's going on?" she demanded. "Your mother says you're refusing to help with Diana's birthday." "It's not that simple, Aunt Carol. They want me to spend $12,000 for a birthday party? That does seem excessive." "Exactly, I offered to spend $2,000, which is reasonable." "Well, maybe you could meet in the middle? $6,000? "No, I'm not negotiating. $2,000 or nothing." She sighed, "Leah, Diana is your sister. Family comes first." After I hung up, Uncle Mike called. Then my cousin Sarah, then Diana's godmother. One by one, my relatives were calling to lecture me about family loyalty and sisterly love. Mom had really done a number on me with that Facebook post. By evening, I felt like I was losing my mindestens. The constant calls, messages, and guilt trips were wearing me down. Part of me started wondering if maybe I was being too harsh. Maybe I could afford to spend a little more. Then I remembered what I'd heard in their kitchen. "Leah's such a loser. She'll pay for everything as usual." No, this wasn't about Diana's birthday. This was about them taking advantage of me, just like they always had. Every time they needed money for something, car repairs, vacation, Diana's college expenses, they came to me. And I always said yes because I loved them and wanted to help. But they weren't asking for help. They were demanding money and trying to manipulate me into paying for their extravagant plans. That night, I sat in my beautiful new house, in my own living room, and made a decision. I wasn't going to respond to any more calls or messages. I was done with their manipulation tactics. I turned off my phone and enjoyed the silence. For the first time in days, I could think clearly. The harassment continued for another week. I'd wake up to 15 missed calls, go to work with my phone buzzing constantly, and come home to find voicemails from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years, all telling me what a terrible sister I was. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I called my friend Sarah, the real estate agent who had helped me buy my house. "Zara, I need to talk to someone who isn't completely insane," I said when she answered. "What's going on? You sound stressed." I told her everything. The overheard conversation, Diana's $12,000 party plan, the constant pressure from my family, Mom's Facebook post. Sarah listened without interrupting. "Wow," she said when I finished, "that doesn't sound like a request for help. That sounds like extortion." That's exactly what it feels like. But you know what? This gives me an idea. There might be something we can do to teach them a lesson. Let me think about this overnight. I'll call you tomorrow. The next day, Sarah called me with the most devious plan I'd ever heard. "Okay, here's what we're going to do," she said. "I work in real estate, right? I have several houses for sale, and one of them has been empty for months. It's furnished but nobody's living there. What does that have to do with anything? The owner is Sheriff Martinez. He's a close friend of mine, and when I told him about your situation, he thought it was hilarious. He said we could use his house for free for one day to pull off this prank. I still don't understand. You're going to tell your family that you've reconsidered. You'll agree to have the party at your house, but you'll give them the address of the sheriff's empty house instead. Let them plan their expensive party, let them pay for everything themselves, and when they show up, you won't be there." I was quiet for a long moment, processing this. That's actually brilliant. But what if something goes wrong? Sheriff Martinez said if they cause any trouble, he can show up as law enforcement and handle it. He can even threaten to charge them with illegal entry if they get out of line. His only condition is that we leave his house exactly as we found it. And where will I be during all this? Having your real housewarming party at your actual house with the people who actually care about you. I felt a smile spreading across my face for the first time in weeks. "Zara, you're a genius." That afternoon, I drove to my parents' house. I used my key like always and walked into the kitchen where they were all sitting around Diana's laptop, probably planning more ways to guilt-trip me. "We need to talk," I announced. They all looked up with hopeful expressions. "I've been thinking about what you said," I continued. "About family being important and Diana's 25th birthday being special." "Oh, Leah," Mom exclaimed, "I knew you'd come around. Here's what I'm willing to donastak. Everyone can have their own list of expenses for the party. You'll all sign contracts with your service providers yourselves. On the day of the party, I'll pay for everything, the DJ, flowers, catering, all of it, when we're at my house." "What about a deposit?" Diana asked. "Some of these vendors want money up front." I sighed dramatically, like I was making a huge sacrifice. "Fine. I'll give you $1,000 deposit. But that's it until the day of the party." Diana jumped up and hugged me. "Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is going to be the best party ever." Mom was crying happy tears. I knew my daughter would do the right thing. Dad patted my shoulder. "I'm proud of you for putting family first." Over the next few days, Sarah and I put our plan into action. Sheriff Martinez met us at his empty house to show us around. It was actually really nice, 3 bedrooms, big living room, fully furnished. It had been on the market for 6 months with no buyers. "This is perfect," I told him. "Are you sure you're okay with this?" Sheriff Martinez laughed. "Are you kidding? This is the most entertainment I've had in years. Just promise me you'll clean up after yourselves." I spent an afternoon setting up the house to look like I lived there. I brought over some of my photos and put them in frames around the living room. I added a few personal touches so it would look authentic when my family came to check it out. A few days later, I brought my parents and Diana over for a tour of my new house. They walked through every room, complimenting my decorating choices and talking about where they'd put the DJ and the flower arrangements. "This is going to be perfect for the party," Diana gushed. "The living room is so spacious. Where should we put the catering tables?" Mom asked. "Probably along this wall," I said, pointing to the far side of the room. "That way people can move around easily." Meanwhile, Diana and my parents went completely overboard with their planning. Every day they'd call to tell me about some new expense they'd added. Premium flowers, a more expensive DJ, upgraded catering menu, specialty cocktails. By the week before the party, they'd spent $15,000. "Leah," Dad called me on Tuesday. "We need another $1,000 deposit. The florist wants more money up front." "You'll have to pay that yourselves for now," I told him. "I'll settle everything on the day of the party." "But what if they don't deliver the flowers without the deposit?" "Then you'll have to figure it out." I already gave you $1,000. I could hear Diana in the background. Tell her we really need this money. I heard her, I said to Dad. The answer is still no. They weren't happy, but they managed to scrape together the extra money somehow. 3 days before the party, I called Mom with my final lie. I have some bad news, I told her. My company is sending me on a business trip. I have to leave tomorrow and I won't be back until the day of the party. What, but we need you here to help coordinate everything. I'm sorry, but this is important for work. You guys have everything handled anyway. The key to my house will be under the flower pot on the front porch. You can get in and set up whatever you need. Are you sure about this, Leah? What if something goes wrong? Nothing will go wrong. You've planned everything perfectly. I'll be there by the time the party starts. Actually, I took those 3 days off work and spent them preparing for my real housewarming party. I invited 20 people, my closest friends, my favorite aunt and uncle, a few cousins who weren't part of Mom's guilt trip campaign. I told them exactly what was happening and swore them to secrecy. This is the most savage thing I've ever heard, my friend Mike said. I can't wait to see how this plays out. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Aunt Lisa asked. This might damage your relationship with your family permanently. They damaged it first when they called me a loser behind my back, I replied. I'm just evening the score. Saturday arrived, and I was buzzing with excitement and nerves. My real guests would arrive at my actual house at 6 Uhr abends. Diana's party was scheduled to start at the sheriff's house at 5 Uhr nachmittags. At 4:30, I was putting finishing touches on my real party setup when my phone rang. It was Mom. Leah, honey, we're at your house now, she said. But the table isn't set up yet, and none of your guests are here. Where are you? I looked around my real living room, where my friends were already arriving with wine and appetizers. I'm still on my way back from my business trip, I lied smoothly. Traffic is terrible. You guys go ahead and get everything ready. But the caterers are here demanding payment. They won't set up the food until someone pays them. Well, you'll have to handle that, I'll be there soon. I hung up and grinned at Sarah, who was helping me arrange flowers. It's starting. 30 minutes later, Diana called, Leah, where are you? And where are all your guests? The DJ is here but he wants his money before he'll start playing music. Like I told Mom, I'm stuck in traffic. Just pay them with your credit card and I'll reimburse you when I get there. But we already paid for the catering. And now the florist is demanding payment too. Figure it out, Diana, I'll be there as soon as I can. I hung up again, my guests were laughing and having a great time. The food was delicious, the music was perfect, and everyone was enjoying themselves. An hour later, Mom called back, she was screaming. Leah, what is going on? We've paid for everything with our credit cards, the party is in full swing, but you and your guests are nowhere to be found. I'm sure I'll be there soon, I said cheerfully. This isn't funny anymore, where are you really? That's when I decided to end the charade. I walked into my living room where everyone was having a blast and started recording a video on my phone. Hey everyone, say hi to my family, I called out. My friends and relatives waved and cheered. You could see my real house in the background, the party in full swing, everyone having an amazing time. I posted the video on social media and sent the link directly to Diana. Within minutes, my phone was ringing again. It was Mom, and she was absolutely furious. What is this? She screamed. This is some kind of sick joke. We've spent $15,000 on this party. You were supposed to pay for everything. Actually, Mom, I never said I'd pay $15,000. That was your plan, not mine. Dad grabbed the phone. Leah, what is this? Whose house are we in? Why are you and your guests somewhere completely different? The house you're in belongs to Sheriff Martinez. I borrowed it for the day, just for you guys. You can celebrate Diana's party there. There was dead silence for a moment. You borrowed it, Diana's voice came through the phone, shrill and panicked. What do you mean you borrowed it? It means it's not my house, I never lived there. Those were just my photos I put up for decoration. Mom started screaming again, you've ruined Diana's party. All the guests are confused and upset. How could you do this to your own sister? I could do it because I hurt what you really think of me, I said calmly. Remember, Leah's such a loser, she'll pay for everything as usual. Well, guess what? This loser just taught you all a lesson. Diana grabbed the phone, I'm going to tear this house apart brick by brick. You can't treat me like this. Actually, Diana, you really don't want to do that. The house belongs to the local sheriff, and there are security cameras everywhere. If you damage anything, you'll be arrested. The line went quiet again. Have fun at your party, I said, oh, and happy birthday. I hung up and rejoined my rail party. Everyone was dying to know what had happened. Das ist die coolste Rache, die ich je gesehen habe, sagte meine Cousine Jenny. Ich kann nicht glauben, dass du das tatsächlich durchgezogen hast. Meine Tante Lisa erhob ihr Glas auf Lia, weil sie die beste Einweihungsparty aller Zeiten geschmissen und endlich für sich selbst eingestanden hatte. Alle jubelten und stießen an. Es war ein tolles Gefühl. Am nächsten Morgen wachte ich mit einer SMS von Mama auf. Du bist der Grund, warum wir jetzt Kreditkartenschulden haben. Du schuldest uns $15.000. Ich schrieb zurück, ich habe gehört, du nennst mich einen Verlierer, der immer für alles bezahlt. Ich werde dir nie wieder helfen. Die $1.000, die ich dir schon gegeben habe, waren mein Geschenk zu Dianas Geburtstag. Das ist alles, was sie bekommen. Später am selben Tag gingen Sarah und ich zum Haus des Sheriffs, um nachzusehen. Alles war sauber und ordentlich. Meine Familie war offensichtlich zu schockiert und verlegen, um ernsthaften Ärger zu machen. Ich traf Sheriff Martinez an diesem Abend bei ihm zu Hause und brachte ihm als Dankeschön eine schöne Flasche Whisky mit. Das war die beste Reality-Show, die ich seit Jahren gesehen habe, lachte er. Ihre Familie sah aus, als hätte sie einen Geist gesehen, als sie realisierte, was passiert war. Vielen Dank, dass wir Ihr Haus nutzen dürften. Ich hoffe, wir haben nicht zu viel Ärger gemacht. Machst du Witze? Das war urkomisch. Ich wünschte, ich hätte ihre Gesichter sehen können, als sie dein Video bekamen. Ein paar Tage später erhielt ich eine E-Mail von meinen Eltern, wir betrachten dich nicht länger als Familienmitglied. Ich antwortete nicht. Ich beschloss, nicht zuerst Kontakt zu ihnen aufzunehmen, aber wenn sie sich entschuldigen und unsere Beziehung wieder aufbauen wollten, würde ich darüber nachdenken. Der Ball lag bei ihnen. Aber mal ehrlich? Das Leben wurde danach so viel einfacher. Keine Notrufe mehr, in denen um Geld gebeten wurde. Keine Schuldgefühle mehr, weil ich Diana bei ihrer letzten Krise geholfen habe. Ich fühlte mich nicht mehr wie ein Geldautomat, sondern wie eine Tochter und Schwester. Endlich hatte ich mein Haus für mich allein, mein Geld für mich und meine innere Ruhe zurück. Und wissen Sie was? Ich habe nie wieder von ihnen gehört. Aber das ist Ihr Verlust, nicht meiner.